Welcome to Child Abuse Awareness with Darlene J. Clark.
Hello, welcome to another episode of Child Abuse Awareness with Darlene J. Clark. Be a part of the solution instead of part of the problem. I decided to put Abuse Advocates United because we are all united in this endeavor. Disclaimer, mature audience, graphic details, accusations, and the party are presumed innocent. Right now, we're going over the child sexual abuse, so that's not necessary right now because we're not going into any stories. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips and balance in favor of fair use. Say hello to anybody that's come in. I'll bet you come in and say hello. Make sure that we have this at the bottom. If you know or suspect that a child is being or has been sexually abused, please call the Child Help National Child Abuse Hotline at 1-800-4-A-CHILD. Again, 1-800-4-A-CHILD. We need to learn to do right, seek justice, defend the oppressed, take up the cause of the fatherless, and plead the case of the widow. Thanks for coming in. Without further ado, let's get in here. Let's get the show on the road. Just come in and say hi. Tell me how you're doing tonight. It's always good to see y'all and hear you. Share the screen. Y'all got anything to add? Please say it in the comments also. The first site I found, I'm going to give credit where credit is due. This is Prevent Child Abuse NC.org. So first of all, we need to find out what child sexual abuse is. Child sexual abuse is defined as sexual activity with a child by an adult, adolescent, or older child. If any adult engages in sexual activity with a child, that is sexual abuse. I like what this other site says. We'll go over that in a few minutes. It brings a little bit more that we might not even think about. But of course, a lot of us think about it, but then the cops don't think nothing about it, or the justice system don't think anything about it, and that's wrong. If another child or adolescent engages in sexual activity with a child, a gray area enters where some sexual behavior is innocent exploration rather than abuse. What are the two types of child sexual abuse? Well, I got another site that lists 5 types of sexual abuse, so we're going to listen to this. There are 2 main types of child sexual abuse: touching and non-touching. Touching includes touching a child's genitals, making a child touch someone else's genitals, playing sexual games, and are putting objects or body parts inside the vulva, inside the private areas in the mouth or in the rectum of a child for sexual pleasure. Non-touching abuse includes showing pornography to a child, exposing a person's genitals to a child, prostitute, trafficking a child, photographing a child in sexual poses, encouraging a child to watch or hear sexual acts either in person or on video or on watching a child undress or use the bathroom. The facts: every 9 minutes, Child Protective Services substantiates or finds evidence for a claim of child sexual abuse. Over 65,000 children are abused in the United States each year. Approximately 1 in 4 adult women and 1 in 13 men were abused sexually as children. But of course, these numbers could be wrong because you know what? There's so many cases where it's unknown. Not every case is reported. So the numbers are even possibly higher than this. Experiencing child sexual abuse is an adverse childhood experience. ACE is the abbreviation that can have long term impacts on a person's physical and mental health, including unplanned pregnancies, chronic health conditions such as obesity or cancer, which a lot of people are having stomach problems, um, so much scarring, scar tissue inside them because, you know, the man's, it's not for a child. That kind of thing is not for a child. So the kid's going to have damage internally for a lot of years, possibly as well. Substance abuse, increased risk of suicide. What can you do to prevent child sexual abuse? Get involved with community based prevention efforts. Seek more information about how to prevent abuse and keep children safe. Support child abuse victims. Teach others about child abuse prevention. Establish a CSA prevention policy for your youth family servant agency. CSA is child sexual abuse, okay? Darkness to Light. In 2013, the North Carolina Alliance of YMCAs adopted Darkness to Light as a statewide initiative to educate and engage communities in the prevention of child sexual abuse. To learn more about this community based program that educates adults about the steps they can take to prevent, recognize, and respond when they suspect a child may be a victim of child sexual abuse, learn more about Darkness to Light, which they have on these other pages. All I have to do is click that. But let me go ahead and go here. People can be sexually abused in childhood without realizing it. So Psychology Today. We'll give thanks to them. This was December 2022. People often, here's the key points. People often have misconceptions about what childhood sexual abuse actually is. Subtle forms of CSA, such as nudity or disrobing, are often overlooked. It is important to connect CSA with problems like alcohol and drug abuse and self destructive or self sabotaging behaviors. As a psychotherapist with nearly 40 years of experience, I'm always saddened by how many people were sexually abused in childhood or adolescence without realizing it. Many people don't label what happened to them as abuse. Others minimize what happened to them and told themselves it was no big deal. Still, others blame themselves or tell themselves they asked for it. I know when I knew that I was being abused, I had been abused. I remembered a couple of instances, but I had so much blocked out that I did not know myself. I just said, well, it's no big deal. I'm okay. Even though the doctor said I've got so much damage, I did not really understand what he was talking about until the nightmares began, and it began unraveling a lot of the essay that was done to me. And then it took a lot of years, such as when I went and seen that state trooper and him remember me for the child pornography that his daddy did. The sad truth is that unless we acknowledge a problem, we can't heal it. For example, many suffer from symptoms include alcohol and drug abuse, eating disorders, self destructive behavior, self sabotaging behavior, sexual aversion, sexual dysfunction, and repeated sexual victimization without making the connection between what happened to them as children and the problems they currently suffer. For this reason, I believe it is important to be open to the possibility that the trauma of childhood sexual abuse may have caused your current issues. Even though I get aggravated, somebody says, "Oh, you're beautiful, you're beautiful." I don't want to hear it, okay? A lot of times I don't want to hear it. Like you can say I'm pretty or something like that, and I'm okay, okay? But when you say I'm beautiful, it's like, okay, thank you. Excuse me. So it's got lasting adverse effects, okay? Even though child sexual abuse is being talked about today more than ever before, many people are still misinformed as to what child sexual abuse actually is. Many think of childhood sexual abuse as an adult having intercourse with a child, but childhood sexual abuse is not limited to intercourse. In fact, most sexual abuse of a child does not involve intercourse. Others don't realize they were sexually abused because they were an adolescent who was older than 13 years old when the act or acts occurred. The sexual abuse includes an adult having sexual contact with an adolescent. Defining child sexual abuse. Let's begin by defining child sexual abuse. Child sexual abuse includes any contact between an adult and a child or an older child and a younger child for the purposes of sexual stimulation of either the child or the adult or older child, and that results in sexual gratification for the older person. This can range from non-touching offenses such as exhibitionism and child pornography to fondling, penetration, incest, and child prostitution. Really, I don't call things child prostitution. I call that sex trafficking because a child is unwilling. You're making it look like this kid is willingly selling herself, right? No, really, the child is a lot of times being forced into it, okay? So they need to get rid of the prostitution part because I think that's degrading in itself, calling a child prostitute. A child does not have to be touched to be molested. Many people think of childhood sexual abuse as an adult molesting a child, but childhood sexual abuse also includes an older child molesting a younger child. By definition, an older child needs to be 2 years or older than a younger child, but even an age difference of 1 year can have tremendous power implications. So they're basically saying it's okay as long as the child is not older than 2 years older than the other child. It's still wrong, right? For example, an older brother is almost always seen as an authority figure, especially if he is left in charge when the parents are away. The younger sibling tends to go along with what the older siblings wants to do out of fear or out of a need to please. There are also cases where the older sister is the aggressor, although this does not happen as often. In cases of sibling incest, the greater the age difference, the greater the betrayal of trust, and the more violent the incest tends to be. I had some friends, I'm not going to mention names, who actually had siblings that when they were attacked, they had some friends over and they were victimized by their brother's friends as well. What constitutes child sexual abuse? Below is a comprehensive list of the various forms of childhood sexual abuse taken from my most recent book, Freedom at Last, Healing the Shame of Childhood Sexual Abuse. Child sexual abuse can include any of the following: genital exposure, kissing, fondling, masturbation, fellatio, cunnilingus, I'm not going to say it right, digital finger penetration. I'm not going to go ahead and read the rest of that because y'all can see it yourself. I ain't going to say the words. Penile penetration, okay? digital penetration. Dry intercourse, a slang term describing an interaction in which the adult rubs his private against the child's genital area or inner thighs or buttocks. There's some more. I'm not going to go ahead and continue on because penile penetration, pornography, nude photography. More subtle forms of childhood sexual abuse. Even if someone wasn't sexually abused in any of the above mentioned ways, there's still a possibility that may have been a victim of child sexual abuse and maybe suffer from damaging after effects. Below is a description of a lesser known, more hidden forms of sexual abuse. These forms of abuse can be just as shaming and damaging as the more obvious overt forms. If anybody wants to come up in the box, please stay there and I'll be glad to put you up in a few minutes. You can come in and discuss. Subtle forms of sexual abuse can include any of the following. Keep in mind that in the intention of the adult or older child while engaging in these activities that determine whether the act is sexually abusive. Nudity. The adult or older child parades around the house in front of the child. Disrobing. The adult or older child disrobes in front of the child, generally when the child and older person are alone. I was over at a friend's house while I would help. Uh, she was sick. Her husband was really a bad person. Okay, so she said one time she was bathing her granddaughter, and her granddaughter, of course, started forming her bosoms. Okay, so she got out of the tub without thinking, and she went in there. She has a little bit of a learning problem, and she goes in there, and her husband starts commenting about how her boobs are growing and how she's turning into a young lady, and you could tell how he's moving his legs that he was getting aroused, which I feel that's a form of that as well, right? Observation of the child, the adult or older child surreptitiously or overtly watches the child undress, bathe, excrete, or urinate. Inappropriate comments. The adult or older child makes inappropriate comments about the child's body. Here we go, see? Yep, just what I was just saying. This can include making comments about the child's developing body, comments about the size of a boy's penis, the size of a girl's breast. Here we go. It can also include asking a teenager to share intimate details about her or his dating life. Even back rubs or tickling in rare cases can have a sexual aspect to them if the person doing it has a sexual agenda. Emotional incest. Emotionally incestuous parents turn to their child to satisfy needs and should be satisfied by other adults, namely intimacy, companionship, romantic stimulation, advice, problem solving, ego fulfillment, and or emotional release. Parents who have been divorced or widowed sometimes attempt to replace the lost spouse with their child. Emotional incest often also occurs when a parent romanticizes the relationship between herself and her child, or him and his child, treats a child as if he or she were her intimate partner, or when a parent is seductive with a child. This can also include a parent confiding in a child about his or her adult sexual relationships and sharing intimate sexual details with a child or adolescent. Approach behavior. Any indirect or direct sexual suggestion an adult or older child makes towards a child. This can include sexual looks, innuendos, or suggestive gestures. So if y'all ever see another child doing that towards your child or in front of a child, please do something about it because that kid needs to be corrected. That is very inappropriate. Even if the older person never engaged in touching or took any overt sexual activity, the child picks up the sexual feelings that are projected. Hopefully, The above list have helped further educate people on what constitutes sexual child abuse. Survivors may be surprised to discover that behaviors they thought were normal can actually be considered abusive and can cause considerable damage to a child's psyche, in addition to causing great shame in a child. It can be painful and disorienting to come to the realization that you were, in fact, sexually abused. But please believe me, it is better to know than to remain in the dark. When we are unaware of what has happened, we are extremely vulnerable to being manipulated or re victimized and surprised and even damaged by our own behavior. When someone knows what happened to them, it may be easier to connect the dots between the abuse they experienced and their current problems. If someone learns that what happened to them is considered sexual abuse, they can reach out for help. Individual and a group therapy can help heal the shame, can help heal the pain, it can help heal the sense of betrayal, it can help heal the feelings of powerlessness, and can help the feelings of anger felt due to the victimization. There's also RAIN, it's the Rape, Abuse, and Incest National Network, offers a free 24-hour crisis line. They will listen to you, support you, and offer you resources. They have the website, and then they got 1 800 656 4673. Again, 1 800 656 4673. It said to find a therapist near you, visit the Psychology Today therapy directory. But we all know that with our insurance, that's a little difficult. Let me get on here and see if anybody said anything. Hey there, Carlene. Good to see you. Thanks for coming in, girl. Here's what it says the types of sexual abuse. Types of child sexual abuse can take many different forms, with potentially many overlaps between these. Intrafamilial or organized abuse may also involve the production of child sexual abuse material. For example, and children abuse in the family may also be trafficked to wider groups or networks. That's what happened to me, y'all. Exactly what happened to me. Contact abuse involves physical contact with a child and includes sexual touching of any part of a child's body, whether they're clothed or not. Using a body part or object to rape or penetrate a child. Like I said, the first time that they did, I'd say even in my book, when my mom showed me the first time, they used a beer bottle. And my friend, Facebook friend, and other survivors, she said there's been instances when they use a Bible, had you just wonder I didn't die because it's got a suction force. Forcing a child to take part in sexual activities, making a child undress or touch someone else. Non contact abuse occurs when a child isn't touched, exposing or flashing, showing pornography. Okay, we used to be on this one thing. I think it was can't remember what that game was. And I had a boyfriend, and I ended up leaving him. I did not know that he was a predator when I found out that he was really a predator. And guess what? I left. But there was a lady friend's daughter that came in there, and she'll be watching him, and he would be performing and dancing and this kind of stuff. And when I wasn't looking, he'll do these sexual innuendos. I told her to leave the room and get out of there. I contacted the mother and told her about him doing this as well. Exposing a child to sexual acts, making them jack off. That's the way of putting it. Forcing a child to make, view, or share child abuse images or videos. Making viewing or distributing child abuse images or videos. forcing a child to take part in sexual activities or conversations online or through a smartphone. It is important to note that although some CSA may be particularly extreme and sadistic, there is no, nor should there be, a hierarchy of which is worse. Focus should be held on how a person has been impacted rather than what they've experienced. Now, please don't say my abuse was worse than yours or anything, because your abuse matters. It should not have happened, regardless of what was done, okay? Abuse is abuse and it's highly intolerable, okay? Now, this one says there's 5 types of sexual abuse, okay? It says, according to the CDC, 1 in 4 men and 1 in 3 women report having experienced physical sexual violence. Their numbers are likely lower than the actual number of victims out there because sexual abuse is underreported, and these numbers only include one of the 5 types of sexual abuse, physical sexual violence. Our office helps people overcome the trauma of sexual abuse, and many of those we work with have not reported the abuse and are reluctant to do so, understanding that abuse is real even if no physical contact is made is important for a journey of recovery to begin. I know I was too scared to tell when the principal kept calling me to the office. I've already been threatened for the police that if I told them they was going to do something with me, so I'm still afraid to tell. There's verbal sexual abuse, includes the use of spoken or written words to express, evoke, or imply sexual content. Verbal sexual abuse is prevalent and can be experienced in social settings, at work, and at home. Crude humor is often given a pass in our culture, even though it does real harm. It can be hard to deal with because we might feel that there is a violation, but be fearful of facing social or relational consequences for speaking out. Up, that's right. Because I spoke out and I get the story out. My family were against me, and I'm going to do what's right. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm not going to say it did not happen. And like my sister, Mary, that's a couple years older, she says that the things that happened to me was God's punishment for me being bad. Y'all get away from negative people like that, please. Don't listen to them. It is not your fault. It is the adult's fault. Remember that. Examples of verbal sexual abuse include sexual jokes. Hey, old lady, good to see you. Hi, Chris, good to see you as well. Got home from the hospital. My boyfriend is, prayers for you, old lady. I'm so sorry. I definitely will add him to the prayer list, okay? Examples of verbal sexual abuse include sexual jokes, teasing about physical characteristics, graphic sexual descriptions, name calling, comments on physical development, solicitation, unwanted romantic advances, sexting, and stalking with phone calls or other messages, etc. There was a guy on a school bus, and I was still in high school, and he made his own cartoon thing, and he drew pictures through that notebook, and he could make a cartoon out of it when he made the pages go fast. And it was so sickening, though it was a sexual content, and he was showing me that. Verbal sexual abuse includes the use of spoken or written words to express, evoke, or imply sexual contact. Verbal sexual abuse is prevalent and can be experienced in social settings, at work, and in home. Crude humor is often given a pass in our culture, even though it does really harm. I want to tell y'all one of the sickest things that adults will tell a kid sometimes. I'm sorry, but they'll say, "Well, you did this to me. What are you going to do about it? Like you got me aroused. What are you going to do about it? Now you got to do something about it." But we were taught that you got to mind adult. You got to do what they say. Children were to be seen and not heard. It can be hard to deal with because we might feel that there is a violation, but be fearful of facing social or relational consequences for speaking up. And that's what we did. We did say that a little bit ago, okay? So let's get on down to covert. Covert sexual abuse can happen without your knowledge. This includes being observed, followed, photographed, social media stalking, sexual cyber harassment. This form of abuse is characterized by attempts by the perpetrator to get some form of sexual satisfaction from the victim without their knowledge. It's like the school teacher who had the little boy coming in there and eating lunch. Then later on, it worked up. She groomed him, and then later she started raping him. And it's visual. Our culture is inundated with sexually charged or sexually explicit images. Being exposed to unwanted sexual content visually is sexual abuse. Some examples of visual sexual abuse can include unwanted or uninvited exposure to sexually explicit images, sexting, airdropping, exhibition. I'm sorry, I'm getting tongue tied. Exhibitionism, flashing, nudity or proper dress at home, and performing sexual acts while with non-consent individuals are present. Six, physical. Examples of physical sexual abuse include non-consensual touching, fondling, physical restraint, cornering, tickling, kissing, excessive cleaning of genitals, enemas, intercourse, sodomy, oral sex, licking, brushing up against, urinating on, invasion of privacy, stalking. The potential for sexual abuse is very much influenced by power differentials. So someone saying, okay, fine, or not saying no, does not mean sexual contact was consensual. And this is because actions can be coerced without explicitly voicing a threat or possible consequences. A lot of times they're saying, you know, you want it. Sorry. There I go there. Ritualistic. Ritualistic sexual abuse is sexual abuse blended with some form of spirituality and ritual. In some cases of ritualistic sexual abuse, perpetrators encourage or attempt to justify their actions as an act of penance or worship to the target of the abuse. This type of abuse also can include child marriage, incest, rituals, genital mutilation. Y'all know that my daddy cut me, and chants or incantations during abuse. Here are questions. Does sexual abuse have to involve physical contact? No, sexual abuse can happen without being touched or even being in the same space as the abuser. Sexual abuses can include words spoken, sight seen, and acts done covertly, all without physical contact. One time, let me give you another story. My uncle gave me a Christmas card, and okay, it was Santa holding a beer bottle, right? And he told me to push out the beer bottle. So I pushed out the beer bottle, and out popped his, you know what, in the card down there. And man, I was like, whoa. And I can't never get that out of my head. I just felt that that was so wrong. What is a trauma? Trauma can be defined as an emotional response to an experience that is distressing, disturbing. With sexual trauma, this often includes experiencing a no choice, no voice event, experiencing something where there is a loss of control, coercion, or pressure, a perceived helplessness. Question: can I heal from this? Yes. If you have experienced something like this, you don't have to be stuck with trauma for the rest of your life. With advanced techniques like accelerated resolution therapy, and eye movement desensitization and reprocessing that help to heal the impact of those events. Recovery is within reach. These new techniques limit your exposure to your memory of the past event in session and expedites the healing process. Therapists with these advanced techniques can really help you to process trauma without a high level of distress and recalling memories. Sometimes we're able to work with clients without them needing to retell the story until it no longer triggers intense emotions. We give direct thanks to First Orlando Counseling. Again, in here, let's chat, see what else. Hello, Dio. And lots of hugs and prayers. We're sorry you're going through this with your better health, and thoughts and prayers are with you. There's a lot of people, I'm sure, at Facebook that are watching this as well and want to give you prayers, okay? Everybody at Facebook, please add my friend, Old Lady O, to the prayer list for her boyfriend who's got cancer, right? We love and care about you, Old Lady O. You're a sweet lady, you're a sweet friend. It's good, so good to see you, Chris. So good to see each and every one of y'all. Um, I got news for y'all. I've been talking to this guy, and he's got similarities. Some of it similar to what Charles Rogers done. He's helped rescue people recently. Some kids in let me think where it was. Columbia, and so he gets with different organizations. So let's hope that it don't fall through because I'm supposed to interview him possibly July the 31st on here. And he's going to have a book out in September because he was molested by a police officer when he was a kid. So he's going to get on and share his story and tell us all about what he's doing and the different fights that he said he's been in helping different agencies recover children, um, recover women and children from the trafficking. And I told him, thanks a lot for that. And I'm sure y'all would be pleased on hearing the good news for that. So recently, I've been a little agitated, okay? Y'all know how much I've been getting the word out. Well, Charles also really basically about John Ramsey, right? So I've been on TikTok under my regular name, part of my regular name's there. And lo and behold, I had John Ramsey as a friend. But I thought, well, maybe there's so many John Ramseys out in the world. John's a normal name. There's Ramsey's a normal name. It might not be the same one. Well, recently, he sent me three very weird videos. Okay, one of them was about this guy. Its name on it said Decker, and we all know how Decker what this guy's last name Decker, what he's wanted for, right? About harming possibly killing his three kids, right? So I felt like that was weird. The next thing he sent me a few days ago, after I did this latest one with Charles, and it was just a couple days later, and the video was a lady on a plane sitting beside a guy. She had a t-shirt on over a nice, beautiful dress, and it's a tube dress. And then she pulls off that shirt basically so it looks basically like she was starting to strip a little bit. You know what I mean? Why would somebody like that, if it's not him, why would they send me that, right? And then the next thing they sent me was a video, I kid you not. So every time he goes live, that guy's videos would show. And I've got to share with y'all what the name of that video said. Hold on a minute. What the caption at the top. So y'all please pray for me because it is really crazy. Because it says, when you see a bunch of men whacking off in the steam room, and basically then they're walking away. Why would somebody send me that but to probably disturb, try to get to me, right? And then this guy, just wrapped up a towel, backing away out of the steam room, and it just at the top it says, when you see a bunch of men whacking off in the steam room. So y'all be careful who you add. I finally went and I blocked him because I had a feeling like this is very strange. Getting the word out about that. Hey, Cash, good to see you, man. Long time no see. Please pray for old Lady O, positive energy, if that's what you feel like, positive energy. Cash, I appreciate what you had done because guess what? It helped me. I did not know that I needed 2 front tires. So what you did? Yeah, I did, and I got me 2 new tires. Appreciate that. Yeah, you helped me out a lot. Lots of love there. So it can't be coincidental because that guy don't speak to me. His name is Jarez, and then I go and talk about him on this program, and then I start getting these weird sexual videos being sent to me from his name. Right? It can't be coincidental. So anyway, let's pray. There's a lot that's going on with our government. There's a lot going on with the Epstein stuff. There's a lot going on with the trafficking. I had a friend recently that said there's a lot more missing kids in the region where she's at in another country. These kids still go missing by the thousands and 100,000s. Okay, so we need to make sure to advocate for our kids. They matter. And y'all see how the cover says Abuse Advocates United? We are all advocates for the children, right? So that includes y'all. Y'all are advocates. So we are united in getting children help and founding and stopping a lot of this nonsense and harming our kids. Lady O, give him a big hug for me and tell him the thoughts and prayers. Lady O, she's got her channel. I really love watching some of that. Exactly. Yes, advocate for children. That's right. Anybody that's oh, that was a survivor of any kind of abuse as well. Yeah, exactly. Don't be the bystander. You got that right. You don't need to just watch idly by. And y'all know the hand signal. When you put your thumb in, like you make a number 4, that actually means help. Okay. Then you close your fingers over that, and that means me. So help me. That's the sign when somebody needs help. They can have it behind their backs at times, and you might not, they don't have to have it straight up ahead, but you'll see that motion when they're hiding it. They might slip a note. I've been noticed that some people would end up calling 911 and then say, I need to order a pizza. You do now? Thanks. You're welcome. For another week, yes. So sometimes you can call and say, I want a pizza, call 911. And they might say, "Well, this ain't the restaurant." And if they are experienced enough, which they should be enough experienced now and trained to know, and I want pepperoni on that, please. It needs to be a large. And then they'll just sometimes they'll get the gist of what you're saying, and they'll get you help. Yeah, exactly. Without actually come and say, "Help, I'm being victimized, I'm being trafficked," or whatever. There's one lady I noticed, she handed the change, she had slipped a little sheet of paper that she had tore up and written on it, "Help me." And she put that in there, but the guy never knew that she had that little thing hiding in her hand, and she was able to get help. But y'all know, a lot of times you might see something like that, and please be careful about approaching a person. They could have a gun, they could have a knife, and the guy's gonna get away after killing y'all both or just killing you. That's not good. You gotta be smart how you're gonna do about approaching. So I like what some guys did. They actually knew that sign. Car passed them. The girl on the back was doing the help me sign, and she called 911. They called 911. It's like three guys, I guess, that was in the car, that was falling behind them now, and at a safe distance to not bring awareness. And they called, and the police actually caught up and got saved her. Exactly, because a lot of times you might try to play the hero, but you don't know what kind of weapons that they might have. And let's just hope and pray that whoever you call is going to be good enough, right? Exactly, exactly. Because someone might be in a car teaching somebody that, looking at you, you can tell that they're teaching or showing them. I'd rather, be safe than sorry, right? And y'all, please wish me luck tomorrow. I mean, next week, starting Monday. I've already got on the human sex trafficking survivor, thriver, whatever, and I start classes next week. It's going to go on for a week, and I'm going to get a certificate. No, we don't need extra victims. That's right. Right. That's for sure. What we want to do is try to heal, try to get these kids safe. Cash, I'm glad you're behaving. That's right. We don't need extra, and that's right, Cash. If people know what we're saying at YouTube, Facebook, so I needed to share that. Exactly. People need to know and to report and act appropriately. Do something. We're all mandated reporters. Cash, now we know that's not true. Hey, Mr. L, good to see you. Thanks for coming in, man. Thank you so much. They had told me that they wished I could come on up. It's all the way in Miami, Florida. I'm not going to go down there to that big place. It's a good distance. A single lady going that distance in a big city like that. Nah, I don't think so. Thank you so much, Oladio. Hi there. It's so good to see you, Mr. L. Hope the weather is doing good for you. Are you still in Ohio, Mr. L? Don't tell on us now, Cash. Catch, you see what he's saying, Mr. L? He's saying that we're all misbehaving. I know it's, yeah. Yeah, right now we're just talking in general terms. Did you understand what the help me sign was, Mr. L? It's the weather is hot and humid up here. Yeah, it was, they said it felt like it was 100 degrees here today, Fahrenheit. Cash, you're in trouble. He always gets me laughing, y'all. But we can have fun as well, you know. We can talk and we'll still have fun. Just be sure you advocate. So, Mr. L, okay, put one of your hands free right quick and make sure you do a number 4. Okay, with your fingers, with your hand, do a 4. That means help. Okay, so then you close down your fingers over your thumb, and it means me. So it's help me. So when you see somebody doing that sign, somebody's needing help. Like I said, you don't need to approach them. They could be having, I'm talking about with your hand, not with your with typing, though, you know. You got that right, lady. I used to like getting Reader's Digest and in it reading Laughter's Best Medicine. I always enjoyed that. If anybody wants to get up in the box, just let me know. I'll be glad to put you up here. So, how's your fur babies, old lady? O? I remember years ago, and it stayed with me. Uh, that little thing I read line, one of the stories I read in Reader's Digest. So this grandson was spending the night with a grandma, right? And he decided he was going to make her a cup of coffee. So the grandson was like 5 years old. So the grandmother just mustered, and it was the worst coffee she ever drunk, but she was going ahead drinking it. And then all of a sudden she saw green in a coffee. And she said, "Hey, grandson, how come that you put your army buddies in the coffee?" He said, "Grandma, it's just like the commercial says. The best part of waking up is soldiers in your cup." It's like, okay. I have never forgot that since I read that. I haven't seen since June 20th. I had to leave them. Oh, wow. That's your prayers there, Our Lady. Oh, you ain't seen them? The kids would say the darndest things, won't they? Just kind of like I did with the Benny Carl's show, you know, when he had told us that we could keep our Cokes and, and drink it all. So when he went to me and said, "Hey, I want my Coke bottle," I want the Coke bottle. I said, I looked at him and put it deep in my mouth and everything. I was my 7th birthday, and I stuck it far in my mouth, like, no, you know, I wasn't going to relinquish that bottle. Because he said I could have it all, you know. So then the next thing I know, the cameraman is twirling the camera and everything. And I get home, and my sister goes, "Can you teach me that trick?" I said, "What trick?" "How you turn flips while you're drinking a bottle." I didn't understand what she was saying, but the camera person was rotate the camera, making it look like I was turning flips. And I just like, okay, whatever, Cash, but you're still young, You're still a small person, ain't you? Oh, yeah, I always liked that TV program. Children say the darndest things. You got to watch out what you say to a kid, too, man. What time of day is it there, Cash? Cash, you better watch out. You're going to get in trouble. You have nieces and nephews. You don't have none. But at least when you got your nieces and nephews, you could always return them back home, huh? That's a good thing about being a grandparent. We raised our kids, and we do love our grandkids and stuff, but it's like, okay, now we need sleep. We can send them back home. Maybe one day you'll be able to have some kids, Cash. I can imagine Cash going, no. Oh, you have your proper kid, a dog. Is it a dog or a cat? Could be, wow, 2 a.m. Wow. So I want to make a time for us to come in and get some of the other people in that's dealt with child abuse. And let's talk about the effects that it had on them, the different stigmas that people put on you. Let's just come in here and talk about, discuss. You would not want to pass on your genes. Oh boy. Oh, collie poo. Oh, it's got to be cute. I really like collies. Is your collie poo sport? I guess it is, right? Does anybody got any ideas what they would like me to go over sometime as well? Uh, if y'all ever want me to come in here and y'all ask me questions about my life, I'll be glad to tell you too. You love Cash's dog? Oh, that's sweet that he's got a collie poo. You have a collie? Wow. Carlene's got a collie. That is so cute. I love collies. Our collie was, her name was Lady. She was so precious. It's been a weird 18 months. Yeah. There's so much on in the world that I don't want to put too much on people, too much, but I really think that we do need to get the stories out there. But like I said, next week I don't know what time my classes are going to be, whether they're going to be during the day or whether they're going to be at night or whether they're going to be at both times or what. So I can't make no plans for next week. Yeah, exactly. And there's so many out there, it's unreal. What's y'all's take on that woman that's going around? There's several different women. These kids that died in the flood. It's horrible, okay? It is horrendous. And some of these people saying, well, glad they're dead, glad they're dead. They're white, that's wrong. It's so messed up. Their lives matter too. Lady O, I don't know if I'm your friend at Facebook or not, but if you can find me, you're free to find me and write me and stuff. Add me as a friend. I think Mr. L left. They might still be here. I don't know. Oh yeah, that definitely was messed up. Well, really, it's been about 3 or 4 different ones. You got that right. They sure will have to answer to God for that, man. That was crazy. I'm not. Oh, we are Facebook friends. Oh, okay. I guess I just don't know your regular Facebook name there, but just hit me up and say, hey. um, my publishing company that did my book, that they're making me a Facebook profile thing for my author name, so it's supposed to tie into my account too. So we'll see how that goes, huh? And Charles, y'all, please pray that this does go into fruition. Charles Rogers, y'all know him, right? So he's supposed to try to get a coalition started in North Carolina, and it's to catch these predators. I don't know what all it involves, but he's going to have a lot of people that were trafficked coming on and telling their stories over there at the coalition in North Carolina. And he wants to start it in little different places like that and move it on to another place and another place just to get it really widespread all over the United States and hopefully let it go further than that. But I think that's a good idea to work together and get these coalitions going for our children, right? So if y'all want to be a part of it, y'all know some people, anybody that wants to just keep in touch with me and Charles, because we want to get that going regardless if there's whatever organization wants to join us. Because I think it'd be good for the different people that want to rescue kids to get involved. Because they found those kids that have been trafficked in California when they raided. Oh, I am too. And yet, they got all the other, whew, these ICE agents that's getting, oh boy, Lord help them. And yet, it's like they said that they got double standards. It's strange. So they can say there are 4 kids, and yet these people that's against ICE is not for helping save these kids that were being human trafficked working over there on that farm. And I think the news station said that some of them had been possibly sex trafficked as well. That's horrible and horrific. I believe that a friend said she was in Newfoundland and they got a lot more missing kids now again. And so pray for Newfoundland. Yeah. Y'all be sure. get the word out. And if you stand by and you say nothing, I think of people that are police officers and anything that turn their backs on the kids or they're part of this whole thing. You need to change your hearts and your minds around. I pray God that y'all do because these kids are gem. Because even in the Bible verses, I'm a strictly believer in the Bible. I like, excuse me, sorry. Let me get that Bible verse showing right here. But whoso shall offend one of these little ones which believe in me, it were better for him that a millstone were hanged about his neck, that he would drown in the depth of the sea. I truly believe the Bible. Okay, a while ago we was reading that episode in rain. This is how the rain. Look at the bottom of the screen. That's how to contact Rain. The number of the website is scrolling at the bottom. And I know this here is a human trafficking at the bottom. If you suspect that a person may be a victim of human trafficking, call local law enforcement or the National Human Trafficking Hotline at 1-888-373-7888. You should never attempt to confront a suspected trafficker or rescue a suspected victim. Doing so could put you and the victim's safety at risk. By immediately informing law enforcement of your suspicions, you can safely assist in the recovery of the victim and the dismantling of the trafficking operation. If you'd like more information on human trafficking in Alabama, okay, it's Alabama number there, please visit End It, Alabama. I want to say God bless each and every one of you. As I'm going to bow my head, going to say a silent prayer. And y'all can say a silent prayer. Let's have a few moments to say a prayer for the kids and the people and your loved one, oh Lady O, Carlene, and everyone's loved ones. And we got some people in Pakistan that been victimized recently. So that's why I had moments of private silence. Okay. Thank you. I say God bless y'all and hit me up if y'all think about something else you would like to come on here and discuss. I really want to get a group of people that have been abused or that want to help speak out against. And, you know, whether you've been neglected or abandoned, whether you were in um, foster care, anything. Just come in and voice your opinion. I like other advocates even get on camera with me so that, well, they get on camera. I won't get on camera, but thank you so much. God bless you so much. Lots of prayers, lots of love.